Hello, thanks for tuning in and welcome to the pool party. I hope you can swim because we're definitely diving into the deep end with a huge splash of truth, facts, evidence, information, and proof. Swim. Say what you mean. It's talk about talking. How we listen, how we hear, how we speak, how we hear what we're listening to when we speak, how a listener hears what we're saying, if what we're saying, what they're actually hearing and or understanding. Is it clear? Swim. Say what you mean. Well, that's just the beginning of understanding, because after we get that understanding, how do we accept it? How we respond if it's not what we expect is paramount. Are you okay with the truth? Are you man, woman, human, or spiritual enough to accept the truth? Let's find out.
Let's do it.
Welcome to The Swimming Pool with your host, Travis Bridges.
Bam! Good afternoon and welcome to SWIM, S-W-I-M. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. Let me say that again. Welcome to The Swimming Pool, S-W-I-M. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. Okay, I am from an undisclosed location while still on extended stay, and I figured I would come into one of my favorite coffee shops and go live. There are a few people here, so you may hear some noise in the background, and I may have a guest coming up in a few minutes, but it's going to be what is it going to be? It's going to be a hit or miss. I'm going to roll the dice, and if I can get my guest on the phone, I'm going to do it. On my last live stream, one of my live chat supporters said, hey, do some more on relationships. And I thought, okay. And I said, okay, while I was live. And I like to be a man of my word. So here I am. I hope you can hear me well. And if you can, and you're tuned in, just say, yeah, I can hear you well, because I know there's a little chatter in the background and I'm okay with that. But I have a subject and a topic. Let's see if I can remember what it was. Has to do with my son and what he said about a couple of things I'm going to talk about. I don't have any clips or anything like that. And as I said, I may have a guest, but that's not in stone yet. Here's hoping you're having a wonderful week already. It's hump day. And I have a couple more days before we can get into the weekend. I really don't get excited about the weekend because I get teased from one of my buddies who tells me all the time, you're retired. And I was like, really, I'm not. Just because I don't punch a clock doesn't mean I'm retired. But I get his point. I don't have a set schedule every day, and no one's actually looking for me the way they look for him on his job of 30 plus years. So with that being said, I'm going to jump right into talking about relationships and something that caught my attention recently that my son had said. I talk to my son a lot. And I set him up sometimes when he don't even know he's being set up. I think he knows, but he just kind of allows me to have my little fun and my ability to listen, hear, pay attention, and use the information I get to help me to determine, a lot of things that may be going on in this thing up here on top of my shoulders. With that being said, he's been married for a few years now. He married his high school sweetheart, and I am a biological grandfather twice, and I'm excited about being a grandfather for as long as I live and visiting my grandparents, all of them. And I'd like to talk to my son about his marriage, because based on what I can see, you never know what's going on the inside of anything. But on the outside, I can vouch for what I see in his lovely wife. She is the best mother I've ever seen in my life. She takes care of my grandkids, his kids, and I have nothing bad to say about either one of them. I'm proud of my son. Everything that he puts his hand on, he is successful. And I'm proud of his family and my grandkids, and I pray for them every day. And I believe they will have a successful life together. With that being said, I occasionally pick his brain for things I kind of want to know regarding marriage and relationships, since I'm not an expert on either. But occasionally I like to get information from different people. And this subject came up. I have two questions I'm going to discuss, and hopefully my guest will be available in a few minutes. But two things I talked to my son about recently for obvious reasons. And I said to him, okay, I need you to put all your thoughts down and just listen to me, not necessarily as your dad, but, a regular. So I said, you've, been with your wife, when you guys were high school sweethearts, and now you're married. I said, let me ask you this. What do you do about your insecurities? Obviously, your wife is beautiful, and it's natural to have some forms of insecurities. God, I shouldn't have used that word, but it's too late now. And I said these words to him. I said, how does it make you feel? Or what do you do when you see other men looking at your wife in a certain type of way that makes you uncomfortable? Or whenever you're not with her, how do you feel about knowing that other people are looking at her? And I remember the tone in his voice was as if, really? But it wasn't his tone, but what he said, and after he said it, that kind of gave me a whole lot of peace moving forward for myself. He said these words. He said, not only do guys look at my wife when I'm not around, right in front of me, I will see them even trying to make a move. And I don't have to have insecurities because I know my wife. And it's never what other people do as much as it is how he responds. So how she responds. So when he said that, we had the discussion a little further. But what I walked away from that with is that he said later, he didn't marry a woman that wasn't attractive in general, particularly to him. And naturally, people are going to look. And no, he doesn't have a problem with other people looking, because looking is, nothing wrong. But what got me more than anything was he says, I know my wife, and I don't have to be around. And even if I am, of course, I get to see her response because I know her. But he gave me the undeniable assurance that that is something that he does not have to worry about in regards to the security he has, not only in his marriage, his commitment to his wife, but his wife's commitment to him and their marriage. He simply says, I know my wife, I trust my wife, and I don't have to worry about that. And this is what got me more than anything. He said, and I'm not that insecure. And if I was, I probably wouldn't have gotten married. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I know he knew what he was doing. So I just left that alone and went on to the next subject, which was, I kept forgetting this before I came on live, but it had to do with, oh man, don't tell me I'm going to draw this blank. Oh my God. I might have to come back on this one because that's why I came on, to have this subject. Oh no, this is what it was. Ooh, yeah, I remember now. And this one is deep, so have all the kids leave the room, okay? I said something to him about himself, because of course I was talking to him about his wife, but I was talking to him about him. I said, as a married man, I said, I know, like most humans, you have the opportunity to be unfaithful. I know you do. And you don't have to answer any questions, and I'm not asking you. But I know my son. I know he's a good dude, just like his dad. But I asked him about infidelity, and he said something to the effect, and I do remember his words, but I'm going to somewhat paraphrase. He said, Dad, I've seen other people go through that, and I see the trouble they experience, and I don't want that. I don't want to be looking over my shoulder, and I don't want to have to take anything like that home and have it in my life. I sleep good at night knowing that I am faithful and loyal to my commitment and to my wife. So, sure, I have the opportunity, and sure, I could have been unfaithful many times. And yes, I do get tempted and even tested. But just like he knows his wife, he knows himself. And that just gave me the peace that passes all understanding. And of course, that came from God, but it came through my son. In that, first of all, he picked someone that he knew and that he trusted. And he doesn't have to worry about, outside influences. And even with himself, he knows the value of commitment and what it means to live in peace and not have to have that on your shoulder or on your conscience being anything other than loyal, faithful, respectful, considerate, loving, kind, and honorable to his relationship as well as to his wife. So with that being said, I just wanted to share that nugget and share that experience for myself and for anyone else. For some reason in my mind, I'm thinking that I'm going to have the opportunity, especially during opportunities of playing my music, that I am going to get to share some of my experiences in regards to life in general, but relationships, securities, insecurities, and things that I experience, especially as of late. I'm going to say within the last 5 to 7 years, I've had some experiences that I'm excited about sharing. I've had a lot of good experiences that were joyful, but I have had quite a few that were somewhat challenging and even painful in some regards. But I said on one of my motivational writings the other day that I believe stress and tears and pain are nutrients for future successes. And for some reason in my golden age, I have a reason to believe that I'm going to have the opportunity to give feedback and share some of my experiences with people who may have questions or who just made who may need some encouragement. With that being said, I don't want to put my son on the spot at all. I don't think he would have a problem with me sharing that part of our conversation. I was grateful and proud of what he had to say about his wife and his bond with his marriage, as well as his high level of integrity, which brings me to my closing point. I have come to realize the importance of standards and values, and I believe in my heart that if you exercise good, strong moral standards and values, you really don't have to worry about it. Of course, people are mean and nasty and conniving, and of course, we pray for the protection of not falling to those type of snares. But I believe we set our own standards when we remain consistent with who we are and what we commit to in terms of our own integrity. And it's easy to get distracted and worried about what someone else does, what they don't do, and I really get it. But I think if we're going to be successful, when we go to the mirror and we focus on who we see and the actions and mentality of who we see in the mirror, I think that's 99.9% of all the peace that we receive when we wake up every day is focusing on ourselves. True enough, anything that's not good, how they say the cream always rises to the top. Sometimes, even in business, if you maintain your commitment to your side of the deal, you don't have to worry. Some way, somehow, high standards attract high standards and values, and vice versa. If you have low standards and values, you're going to attract that, and that's what's going to come to you. And on that note, I'll say, we reap what we sow. Whatever we plant is what we grow. And now, you know. Thank you again for being with me. Thank you, son, for sharing those nuggets with me as you always do. And thank you for being okay with me sharing this moment. Now I'm going to see real quick. Well, no, I think I'm going to leave it alone. But I would like to know Well, no, I'm not even going to do it. I think I've done enough. I've made my point, and I'm at peace with what I have said. Here's hoping you're having a good, wonderful Wednesday. I'll be back another time soon. I've been writing a lot more lately, too. Gives me peace. And as this live stream is therapy for me, writing is also therapy for me. So with that being said, find someone you need to say I love you to. Don't just say it, show it, mean it, let it be true. And even if it's not received, your standards, your values, and your integrity is more important than how someone may perceive it. Okay? Till the next time, take real good care of yourself, and I'll see you when I see you. I think I see a message down there, and I want to see who it is as soon as I find where I'm going. Oh, here it is. I see the heart. Thank you, Sandra. Appreciate it. Ciao, everybody.
SWYN. Say what you mean. As much as this information is designed to bring awareness to how we listen, hear, and process, it is also a form of therapy. The little person inside of all of us needs to be heard. As adults, even listening to ourselves is a form of healing, strengthening, and growth. It's okay to speak, talk, express yourself, and be heard, even if you're the only listener. If our testimony does anything at all for anyone else, that makes the continued effort worth the time. Get the words out. You'll feel better, and that's a promise. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
You know, sometimes it seems like all the good times are gone, but you got to keep on searching. You got to keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. For example, take me standing right here today. I would not be here with you if I believed the things that the people say. You got to keep on searching. Keep